All right, welcome everyone. This is going to be probably one of the better shows of the year. Doris Brendel and Lee Dunham are here, and they have a brand new album, and it's a blues album. These guys are steampunk. I'm really hoping I'm jumping ahead like I usually do. It's a question I was going to ask on, is there ever going to be a steampunk album? I really hope so, because I have some bands that I could introduce them to here in Washington, one of the greatest, Abney Park. And they probably have heard of Abney Park. But anyway, um, hopefully that's coming down the road. But before they did that, they finally released a blues album, and it's like, why didn't they do this sooner? These guys are excellent uh, blues musicians. So thank you, Doris and Lee, for taking time out of your busy schedules to come on in and discuss the Big Blue Sky. And I'll let you guys say hi and go from there.
Hello, lovely to be here.
Welcome.
Thank you for taking an interest in our blues album. It's our first blues album, so it's quite different for us. And it's been quite exciting. And Lee is the producer and guitarist.
I'm indeed. Hi, everyone. How you doing? All good. It's my
Good, very
first day.
good. Just a little bit louder if you can, but we're very happy to have both of you here. Lee, I mean, Doris, you're coming in perfectly from across the
I will try and speak up.
much better. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Um, but uh, but absolutely just in the way you said first, it sounds like you're already thinking maybe about another one. I hope so. Blues, I mean, blues album.
Do you know we haven't got that far yet? We've
Okay.
sort of talked about it. I mean, we you say steampunk album. Well, steampunk isn't a genre; it's just a look. So,
So
which is
you've never
why
heard
we've
of Ebony Park?
No, no.
Oh,
Is that a genre? Is that what kind of music does is steampunk?
it's well, I'll send you a link.
Sure.
But there's that, and I love steampunk. There just aren't that many great bands out there, but Abney Park is from Seattle, and I think they're one of the first bands that got into it. But there's them, and then there was a movie actually that I can't remember the name of, but that was kind of a steampunk movie, and they did a rendition of who I think I've said you sound a lot like Grace Slick, but they did White Rabbit, and it was just amazing. But I'll send you those links
Yeah, we'll
when
have
we're
to check
done,
Okay, let's
that
have a
out.
listen. Yeah.
because
Yeah,
I mean they dress steampunk, but it would be so
sure.
cool if you guys did a steampunk album. But we'll go
Well,
down that road. I'll send you
we've
a bunch
kind
of
of
stuff.
up to now, it's just been multi-genre. I mean, we've been put into the prog scene because we're not classic prog, prog
Yeah.
fans. It's usually different from what we do, but because we mix so many genres anyway, nobody really has ever known where to put us. So we've been accepted by the prog scene. So now most of the shows we do, even acoustic shows, we do with prog bands, which is kind of weird because I like a good chorus and I like um it doesn't have to be overcomplicated. So but it's very nice that we've been accepted into that scene. And last year I won the HRH Prog Award for Best Female Singer, which was a total surprise. I mean, big surprise.
And I was going to
Um,
congratulate you for that, and because I don't
thank
think
you.
I have, but congratulations. And just one last thing, it did help that you played with Fish. It being on in within his band, that'll get you all the prog swag you need.
Sure. Yeah, but I don't know because it's yeah, that sort of helped to a certain degree, but and it helped get us some festivals and things like that. But I think part of the reason, I don't know what Lee thinks, but part of the reason we got the Prog Award was because of our personalities. Because we really chat to people when we're on stage and we're quite silly and we're quite energetic. And a lot of the female singers I was up against who were nominated were, younger than me and slick and beautiful and big budgets and all of that. And what set me really apart was that I really talked to the audience, and we're very sort of interactive. And I think I got a big cheer, partly because of my personality, just because I'm quite friendly, I think. What do you think, Lee?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. I'm not sure that it's only that. I think the music speaks for itself as well. I think that's a big part of it. I think we've been doing it for quite a long time now as well. I think there's a lot of people. I mean, we've managed to play a lot of shows and play in front of a lot of people. And I think people know us. You know, the prog market is a bit of a, you know, it's quite tightly weaved, isn't it? Everyone sort of knows everybody else. So if there's a new band on the circuit, everyone sort of knows that band. Or if there's a new person that everyone likes that, you know. And I think we had a good go at that, and still are having a go at it, if you like. Obviously, prog isn't as big a market as it was many moons ago, but it's still there, which is a good thing. And the people are quite loyal, and I think they buy a lot of albums, and they support the bands that come through, which is a good thing. I think we deserved it. I think you deserved it anyway, to be fair.
Thank you.
We
I
got to
wasn't
get
expecting it. Yeah.
we got to get him one for the guitar on this album. He did a fantastic job. He's shooting for Stevie Ray Vaughan level. It was really good. Hopefully
Yeah,
you'll get
I was a Stevie Ray Vaughan fan and a Gary Moore fan, and you know, most of the guitarists are, you know, you can't get away from guitar, a style of guitar that is that good. You know, you listen to it and you go, that just sounds great. And then what I didn't want to do was copy it. You know, I'm not a copycat player. I don't want to copy someone's style, but it's easy to try and emulate it to make it sound like it's still me, but it just gives a little nod or a little hint to other players. I understand that. You know, there's an awful lot of players that blend their whole style, and all they want to do is sound like their idols. And I can understand that, but it's not me. I don't do that. So, you know, yes, to have a wink and a nod at Stevie Ray Vaughan and to Gary Moore, I'm all for it. Why not? You know, and people seem to have really loved it so far. You know, everyone that's listened to it, and because Doz has done such an amazing videos for some of these songs, like some of the hits that we've been getting on the videos, and people are leaving comments. And a lot of comments that keep saying, a hint to Gary Moore, or a hint to Stevie Ray Vaughan, or this sounds just like, and a lot of it's the guitar sound, and a lot of it's what I'm playing, and it's very emotive, the guitar playing on it. But I've never played blues before. I'm not really a blues player, but I did understand that if you're going to go into blues, if you've got something to say, then make sure that it's worth saying on the guitar. That's what I tried to make it come across as. And I think I did okay personally.
Of course you did.
very well. And then one other thing with Prague, and then we'll leave that. But Prague has absolutely changed. I mean, compared to Yes, Up Here, and
Sure.
Genesis, and even Dream Theater, doesn't sound like they used to.
Yeah.
So yeah, it and some of the newer bands. If you ask Genesis and some of those bands, are these guys Prague and Pink Floyd, they'd probably say no. So it has changed, and that's a good thing. I don't want to hear somebody copy it. There are some really good artists out there that do a great job of recreating Genesis, so I don't want to knock them. But but
That was never
you
us.
don't want
That
to
was
keep hearing
never
that
us.
from everyone. I love Supper's Ready, but I don't want to hear everyone playing it. You know, there's only one. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry, Doris.
No, well, one of the reasons we haven't done a blues album before was because it's so restrictive. I mean, the thing about prog, and you say they're all different, it should all be different. Progressive means not sticking to formulas. It just means trying to do something new, something different, trying to mix different things together, you know, rather than, so we never wanted to be Genesis or Pink Floyd, or, you know, we wanted to do our own thing. And I mean, Lee and I love a bit of heavy stuff as well, so we mix in a bit. So we tend to be a little rockier than a lot of the prog bands that play at the prog festivals. And, you know, some people go, oh no, it's rock rather than prog, and it's this and more. I don't know. And you can't please everyone, but progressive is supposed to be different. And so we never did a blues album, partly because of me just saying, yeah, but it's so restrictive. It's so restrictive. You're having to deal with a formula to a certain degree. Where with prog, you can kind of do anything you want. You can stick any instruments in, you can stick any ideas in, you can swap any genres, you can just kind of go where you want to. You can't do that with blues. So it was a very odd thing for me and Lee to do, because we're so used to just doing whatever we want, to restricting ourselves to work within a framework. So from my point of view, I just concentrated. I didn't just want to do the da-da-da-da. I wake up this morning and just be really cliche about it. I wanted to write good songs. So my main thing was, I'm going to write some blues songs, but I want to write some songs with hopefully catchy choruses and things that people will remember. So it's something that is good to listen to. And I hope that's what I've achieved. Whereas
Definitely.
Lee, the production was a totally separate thing, and the guitar, of course.
Trying to fit that into the song. It's the songs itself, because when Doris wrote most of the songs, there must be, I reckon there's probably 8 singles, not joking, there's probably 8 singles out of 13 songs on there which is singles easily, or maybe more, where the songs are actually that strong. And when you've got a singer-songwriter who's writing songs, if you're trying to produce the songs and leave, okay, you might say, okay, I want to put a solo in here, or do I need to add an extra chorus or an extra verse there, or what's the middle 8 going to sound like? And if the vocally, because obviously she's trying her hardest to represent the vocal, which is basically the most important thing about the song, because obviously vocals is the most important thing. And I also know that Doris's voice is really bluesy, so that's going to help with selling a blues record in the first place. And then trying to make the guitar 6 is very easy to overplay and to waffle over the top or behind a vocal on the guitar and whittle around or in between. And I did find it quite difficult to keep space, because blues needs space, whereas, as Doris was saying earlier, with the prog, it's all really, you can add as much as you want. Instead of adding, blues is taking away. So you need to add the space in and not overplay. But at the same time, how do you then show your guitar skills when you've got a really complex or really intricate vocal line that you're hanging on every breath or every word that she's saying? So I found it quite important to make sure that the guitar lines were just as good as the vocal line, to try and make sure that the hook line was still there as well. But like I say, trying to find the space and keep the space in the songs was difficult for me as a production. But I definitely think we got there in the end with that, because the more we did it and the more that I sort of tried to juggle all of those things, the more the song comes together and the more you go, okay, I'm getting the hang of this now. Bearing in mind, I've never played a blues album. I'm not really into blues, like I said before. And this is the first time that we've done it. We've gone into it together. And I think we've done, listening to it back, I mean, we really have done a really good job. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's very clear, engineered perfectly. I mean, that's one of the things, like you say, with blues. If you listen to old blues albums, everything's so crystal clear. The production is really good, and you guys match that, and that is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I had all these sort of typical kind of questions that I was going to ask you guys, and then you debuted Satin Row, and I was like, whoop, that's off the table. We got to start with that one. So absolutely astounding. And Doris put this together. She works with our AI, and you got to tell us a little bit about that and the ride on the dragon and the whole thing. And she's definitely embracing AI, which you have a lot of bands and musicians out there that are like, no, I don't want that. But she's like, no, bring it on. It really helps add to the party.
I know there's a lot of people out there who say no to AI, but I think you can't stop it. It's here. It's here. It's developing. And I've actually said to everyone in all sorts of different jobs, whether you're a journalist or a writer, an artist, a creator, you need to know what this stuff can do. Because if you don't, your competitors are using it. Yeah. So I thought, I mean, now there are music programs where literally anyone without any musical skills whatsoever can just program in, write me a song about, I don't know, about an elephant flying through Africa, with a gospel vocal, and you press go and it will create something that sounds real. It's incredible. I mean, this is where we're at now. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is actually irrelevant, because it's here.
That's true. Yeah.
Right, it's here, so you might as well know what it can do, what you're up against, what it can do, what it can't do, and from a visual point of view, so again, play around with it. It's here, it's not going away. I'm amazed how few people actually do this. I really am. So as soon as it became available, I signed up for all the beta programs and went, yep, I need to look at this. And the thing is, people say, oh, yeah, but it's taking away jobs and so on. Yes, to a certain degree, without a doubt. But, for example, the video for Satin Row, which you mentioned, that to shoot something like that without AI would require an enormous budget. I mean, you're talking millions to create something like that. Yeah. You would need a whole film crew. You would need casting. You would need, I mean, just to create that dragon.
CGI.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able, we would not be able to afford to do anything like that. The video that uses no AI at all is the first one, Red Letter Blues. And it was just my face, which I did with my mobile phone, and a sort of glass, a rainy window, and lots of lettering, right? That's got no AI in it, and it's super simple and it works really well. But there's only so much you can do without a budget. So to do something like Satin Row, you have to use AI if you want to create something like that.
I think the part where you're playing guitar, that's you, right? In terms of on Satin Row, to sort of distinguish what is you and what is AI. Obviously,
no, it's
the dragon is AI.
It's all
and
AI.
Maybe when you're running down the street, but when you're playing guitar, that's not you live.
No, that's all AI.
Oh wow!
It's all AI. It's I know, and people can't seem to wrap their heads around it. I wasn't even going to do that video. It was because I was experimenting with some new features. One of the things I've been waiting for, and which will come, is to be able to create really good avatars, as in characters. So wouldn't it be great if I could just create a character which looked like me, in lots of different ways, and then I can say Doris does this, and it just takes my character and does things with it. Now, some of the AI programs have got features that are supposed to do that, but they're absolutely rubbish. They suck, right? Okay. And suddenly I've turned into a middle-aged Indian lady and all sorts of strange things that happen, and it doesn't look anything like me. Now, with this particular,
what are some of the best ones to use, since you do have some experience with it?
Depends what you want to use. Right, it keeps changing. They overtake each other. Now, the ChatGPT one is not available in Europe yet, so I've not been able to play with that one. It is available, I think, in the US, so that would certainly be worth playing around with. But I used Kling AI, which wasn't a front runner a year ago. In fact, it wasn't really there a year ago, but it's particularly good. It has for some of these create your character functions, you put in 30 pictures of yourself and it still doesn't look anything like you. To create a lot of these things, I only used 4 photos of myself. But you have to experiment. You really do have to experiment a lot. And the problem with Kling AI, and you'll see that if you watch the video again, it seems to be set on supermodel, on the supermodel function. So, if you put yourself in, you say walking down a street, you walk like a supermodel. And I've done quite a lot of experimentation to try and take that out, but it starts making you look like you've got one leg shorter than the other, and it starts going really strange. So you can't do everything. Again, you have to really pick the things that you want to do, but it fit that particular song so well.
And the pictures you're uploading are just headshots or your whole body?
Head and shoulder. I tried lots of different things. I think there are some where I've got a whole body shot. You have to really experiment really experiment with. There's another video coming, not next week, the week after. We've got 2 more to come, and I've done some of me and Lee, and it looks really realistic. But I did have to use some really old photos of Lee because otherwise it made him look super ancient and much older than he actually looks. So you have to kind of. No, it's true. It's like the Hollywood version of Lee, but it looks so much nicer, and it does look like Lee, and of course, I don't use really awful photos of myself. I try and use. I mean, this is part of my retirement plan, Mark. I mean, it's. I'm not getting any younger. I'm getting older, and of course, you don't look great when you get older. So with AI, I can actually keep myself younger than I am, and that's
you look
great.
like you're at 30. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course I'm not. I don't look that good in real life. I mean, there's live videos of me from a few months ago, so you can see what I look like. It's not that far removed, but it is far removed in a lot of ways. And so, like I say, it's part of my retirement plan. It is AI. If anyone asks me, I say it's AI. There's no secret here. But I can do things that I couldn't do before. So, like I say, it takes a lot of experimentation. You have to try it. Some things just don't work. Like I tried to do a AI. I had lots of ideas for Wi-Fi weekend and glitches, and AI just didn't get the concept. So, like that's when you say, would I do videos for somebody else? Some things work, some things don't. So it depends what you want. There's no magic wand, but it is getting amazing. And that video, when I first sent it to Lee, I went, look at this. And I think Lee was quite amazed, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I thought it was really good. Yeah, that's definitely the best one that we've done for sure. But I think the programs are coming on a little bit more. Each, like you said, the programs themselves are coming along. But don't get me wrong. I know for a fact how many hours that it would take Doris to do it. It's not something that you just go, oh, she just made that sound really easy there, but it's not. You don't just stick in a couple of things and tell it to do something, because it will very easily get confused. Like if you watch that video again, you can see that there's still issues with movement here and there. There's slight where scene changes take place. There's bits and pieces happening. I mean, a good rule of thumb is that if you went back and had a look at the video that you did for Pigs Might Fly. What was the song, Doris? The devil one?
Not The Devil Closed the Door. So I keep getting my devils mixed up.
Yeah, me too.
Better the Devil You Know is
Better the Devil You Know. If you go back and have a look at that video, that one is full of weird sort of intricacies where people have 3 arms all of a sudden, or they've got 3 eyes, but then it suddenly changes back to 2, or there's lots of amalgamation of things where the computer's getting confused. But it works really well with that particular video. Where
because it's set in hell. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
You have to pick your subject.
Yeah. Which is why I think you're saying it depends on the subject, because if you can get away with errors, then it's okay, it's still fine. But
in this one, there's loads of errors. If you look, for the people surrounding it, like in the club scenes, and if you look at other people's faces, they disappear. There's weird stuff. But for me, it works because the whole idea is that it's naughty, it's bad. It's where the bad girls go. It's a bit druggy and a bit strange and a bit futuristic, and so it works. It doesn't matter. The other video that I did of us, which is, like I said, coming up in 2 weeks, that's much more realism orientated. And there I couldn't have a lot of glitches. I had to edit those out.
Do you guys remember, I think you're old enough to remember, Tom Petty's Alice in Wonderland video on MTV? I mean, this was sort of, I mean, it wasn't real life like that was, but your video no, it doesn't look like it or anything like that. I'm just saying to me, it was up to that same caliber. I mean, you really did a good job on it. And had MTV, if they still did music videos like they used to, now I think it's all, social media programming and stuff like that. This would have been on there because
maybe I don't know. I mean, I just kind of do my thing, and I don't even know what people, because I look at some videos and they're very well shot, They're very clear and they're very
Yeah.
glossy, but they're not, I don't always find them very interesting. It depends, you know,
Yeah.
some videos really stand out, but I just have to go with my ideas and kind of see what I can achieve with what I've got. And I'm definitely pleased with that one, especially the dragon with when the dragon came out.
That was
But
really
like
cool.
Lee says, it's not just generating stuff. It does take a lot of trial and error. And then I do put it through editing software. I have to cut out some of the really glitchy bits. I sometimes you have to slow something down or speed something up for it to look natural, or you know, you do have to play with things a bit to get the best results out of it. But yeah, it's great. I'm very proud when I've managed to do something good.
Yeah, you should be. You should be. It's interesting now that the actual. I mean, Doris and I. There's no way. I mean, we enjoy what we do, but there's no way that Doris and I don't know, 25 years ago, if the industry was still there, Doris would be a vocalist and I'd be a guitar player, and that would be it. But the music scene is asking a lot of musicians these days for you to stay alive in the industry. And it's pushing everyone into being able to do what they can do. You have to do more than just be a singer or a vocalist or a guitar player. It's you everything, if you've noticed, is now in house with us, and it has to be to try and make sure that it works. Otherwise, you just A, lose too much money, and B, you can't control the incomings and outgoings well enough.
Yeah.
Which I think is a bit of a shame, to be fair. But on the other hand, it does push you to be someone different, or to push your boundaries into doing something else. You know, I never thought that I would be a producer. I've always done producing, but not to try and get to a standard of trying to compete with your heroes, you know, or your you know, that's not where I'm at. But it is now, because I have to be. And the same as Doris trying to do something with AI with a video. You know, all of this is necessity more than it is just that, you know, because otherwise it'd just be a bit of fun, which it is a bit of fun and doing what you want to do. But surely it would still be. What do you think, Dodge? Do you think you'd still rather be a singer, or would you rather be a singer and a video maker as well?
Oh no, but I love variety. I mean, variety is the spice of life. I mean, which is why I've been a songwriter, and I do some recording, and I play lots of different instruments, and I sing, and I love stagecraft, and I've always done lots of different things. I'm not actually brilliant at any one thing. I'm a really good all rounder. You know, I do lots of things quite well together.
I think you do vocals really well, Doz.
Thank you.
Oh, no. He's one of the best in England,
Yeah.
in the UK.
Well, I'm very, do you know what? I'm always so aware of my limitations. I'm always aware that there are a few singers who are just so much better than me. But then, you know, some of the best singers I know think the same, which is interesting. And I think, my God, you're so much better than me. Surely, you know, they're just and it's not insecurity. I'm not really insecure. I know what I can do, and I know what I can't do as well. But no, I love being artistic. I love having the time to do it. I think that's something that not a lot of people have. Lee and I have been doing it for so long. We can be pretty much full time about it. And that is such an honor.
Who would you compare yourself to? Because we had that sort of conversation on social media, but I think you went with. From what I remember, I have it down here in my notes here. Well, I said Kim Carnes, I said Janis Joplin, but I think you were pushing towards Melissa Etheridge. But what do you think?
I don't think I'd like to think I'm not like anyone else. I'd like to think that I'm unique enough not to compare myself to somebody else. My voice doesn't sound like anyone else. You can only, but I mean, I know it's human to compare, because, you know, people say, well, what is she like? You've got to reach for something. I mean, Janis Joplin's got a very distressed voice, which I suppose I have, but she's totally different.
Yeah.
Melissa Etheridge, I think they have slightly smoother voices than me. I don't know. Do you know what?
The human voice is, you know, your own. It's unique. Yeah.
Nobody. I mean, generally people compare me to others. Like I say, it's natural. It's what people do. But I'm rarely compared to the same person twice. So I think that tells you quite a lot.
I think any good vocalist, as soon as you hear them sing, if they've got a tone of voice that you can name it straight away, you're on to a winner. That's my rule of thumb with vocalists, is that if you've got a good enough vocalist that as soon as they start singing, you go, oh, that's whoever it might be. And that's what happens when Doris sings, is that you go, I recognise that voice, it's her. Because she doesn't sound, she does, you can put her in the same category of, but no one sounds exactly the same as her. Her voice sounds like her, no one else, which is why we work together, and I haven't gone and found anyone else yet.
But it can also be a curse, because I mean, the psychology of sound and what people like familiarity. It's soothing, it's comforting, it's what we know. No, I mean, tests have been done, psychological tests have been done. If something sounds different from your comfort zone, our initial reaction is to not quite like it, because it's just a bit odd. But once you've heard something 3 or 4 times, your ears have adjusted to the sound, and it starts becoming part of your comfort zone. And of course, the big difference nowadays is that we used to, before the digital world, we only had so many radio stations. So chances are you would hear a track that was playlisted several times, and you would get used to that new sound. Nowadays, people spend 10 seconds deciding whether they like something, and then they switch it off and go to the next thing. So it can be difficult. It can be difficult.
Coming back to that earlier conversation you had about the blues being limiting, would you consider the sound country blues, Delta blues, Piedmont, urban, Chicago, West Coast, or is it something specifically out of the UK or London?
I think we've been described as British blues, haven't we?
Yeah. That's a difficult one, really. I'm not even sure that I know the genres well enough. I'm going to hold my hands up here. I'm not even sure I know the genres well enough, each individual genre well enough to categorize what it is. But I can tell you what I think it is. And I think it's a lot of blues ballads. There's a lot of songs there. There's a lot of songs with an enormous amount of feel, an enormous amount of feeling. And that style of that sort of singer-songwriter blues. I mean, I guess it is British. I guess it is. You've got that sort of way of writing.
Rock blues, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's got a tinge of rock. You've got blues followed by rock.
Yeah, I had to sort of make that decision when I was producing it, whether to have the drums as the big rock drums, or to whether to have them laid back and just let the songs do what they do. I knew I sort of wanted the same drum sound throughout the album to keep the album cohesive as like a glue. And coming from that sort of proggy rock sort of scene, I ended up going for those big rock drums anyway. And I think that's where it gets its rock sort of tinge from, is that backbeat of the big drums. But I chose that on purpose just because I just wanted it to sound a little bit more rocky. So yeah, I guess so.
The only one that is kind of says rock, blues rock very definitely is Hold On, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that does. That's good. And it's also in drop D, that one as well, which makes the guitarist, it's a lower tone to a sound, so it makes it sound much more raunchy. You know, it gives it that depth. Yeah.
You've had a couple of shows, and I'm pretty sure you're planning some kind of big show for the launch in April 21st, by the way, is when their album comes out on Rocket Records. But I think you have something planned for that, but is there a tour in the works, or?
Do you know, we haven't even got a set band for this. We've got a drum. The problem is that the music scene, I don't know what it's like in America, but in the UK, the music scene is kind of dying. We watch it getting less and less and less. It's just sort of this little shrinking thing where fewer people are going out. They go to the really big things, but they don't. All the small clubs are closing and going, and it's really tough getting people to come out. So we've been doing fewer and fewer band gigs, as band gigs are blimmin' expensive. You know, you need bigger stages, you need bigger things. So when we were doing the Fish Supports, that was perfect. You know, that was really, really great. But we're only doing a few festivals, a few prog festivals this year.
Which one?
We're
Just
doing the New
yeah.
Day Festival in August, and we're doing the HRH Prog Festival, which we've done once before. We love that. That's in November. And we're really, really looking forward to those. That's going to be fantastic. That's with a full band. But it just costs so much money. You know, they're all session players. It's a very, very difficult set. You have to use really good musicians. And all our musicians are pros, so it's just expensive. And when you don't get enough people coming out, hence we've been doing a lot of acoustic duos because it's just super easy. And we've been getting asked a lot for acoustic duos because it's a lot of fun, but we're still for some reason classified as prog, which is kind of strange, but it seems to work. So we're doing a lot of prog gigs as acoustically. So this blues show is we're using our usual drummer, but we're using a couple of other musicians. One we've never worked with before, and one we haven't worked with for ages, but who's fabulous. Sparky on bass. I've known him for many years, and he's played with me and Lee before as well, and he's done some recording, and he's really perfect for that. And a keyboard player we don't know, but who's very good. And we're all learning the tracks, and it's going to be a bit of a squeaky bum time when it comes to the actual playing. Lee and I are going to have a little bit of a rehearsal. But
Sam Blue on vocals as well.
You're going to
Sam
do
Blue
the whole
on
album?
vocals. We're going to do the whole album, yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
excellent.
absolutely. And I don't know if you noticed, but we've got Sam White on drums, Sam Brown on Hammond, and Sam Blue on extra vocals. So it's a Sam fest. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the Three Musketeers, but you already jumped that train. Go ahead.
Well, it's Sam White, our drummer, we've played with for a really, really long time. And Sam Brown, the singer, who I've known for, I don't see her very often, but we've known each other from, I don't know, 30 years. And I've asked her to play on my albums before, and she always kind of says, yes, I'd like to, and then I can never pin her down. She's like a sort of, very slippery thing that's it's just hard to get her to fix her in place. But this time it worked. She was going to play on 6 tracks. She ended up playing on 4, which is actually quite a big achievement, has to be said.
Good. Yeah.
And her Hammond sounded fabulous. I mean, she's so
Yes,
good at
it
what
did.
she does. And her brother recorded her. I mean, it's great, isn't it, Lee, her Hammond playing?
Yeah, very, very good. Yeah, it's one of those Hammonds that I see. I've got various Hammonds on a plug-in on a computer, and I was using those, and I was great. And Doris said, "Oh, you should use." Sam wants to record her own, and I was like, "Well, okay, let's just see what it sounds like." When it came back, the difference was remarkable. It just makes such a nice, warm sound. It's perfect for holding up music but giving it that sound, that proper Hammond sound. It's beautiful in the background. It's really, really nice. Some of the solos that she does as well are really nice on it. Very nice Hammond sound for sure.
I had a cousin, well, I mean, she's still alive, but I had a cousin that tried to teach me organ years and years ago when I was a little kid, and yeah, it does just sound so warm.
It does. Yeah.
You really nailed it.
It's a beautiful instrument.
It's something sitting there and actually playing it. Yeah.
Yeah. But so we had Sam White and we had Sam Brown, and of course, I said to her, we need some more colours, and I thought, oh my God, I actually know a guy called Sam Blue that I have worked with before, and he's a really good singer. So I said, we need to get him on this album. But he sang the duo with Is This the Last Time, which came out beautifully, really, really lovely track.
Yeah, he's got a great voice too. Really good voice. Same as you. Sounds lovely. So it's not often when I was in the studio. It's when you record a lot of stuff and you sort of know what you're going to hear. And then he came in to do some vocals, and while he was singing, I had Doris' voice and his voice together in the mix, and the little hairs on the back of my neck was standing up when he was doing his take, and I was like, when that happens, it means it's got to be good, right? It can't not be crap. It's doing something to my body that I can't control. It's making hairs stand on end when you're hearing 2 beautiful vocalists sing like that. It's just, yeah, fantastic.
He's also a really fun guy, isn't he? I mean, I've only worked with him once before, but
he's a lovely guy.
I remember really liking him. You had some laughs in the studio, didn't you?
Yeah, he he managed to make have you ever seen Minecraft? Do you know what Minecraft is, like the game?
Yeah.
So he went into the vocal booth and did like, I don't know, let's say did like 14 takes of one particular part. And he came out and I shrunk the screen down. And as I shrunk the screen down, he'd made this Minecraft man with his vocal takes on the screen. And I was like, dude, you just made this man out of and like, it looks like, and he was like, oh, it looks like a Minecraft man. And I was like, and then he went back in and he did another one. He did another load of takes. And he come back and I shrunk it back in again. And he made like this Minecraft sheep figure thing that he'd made. And I said to him, you're just Minecraft man. You just made. It was almost like he was actually singing the right amount of. I went, no, that one's not right. Do it again. Doing it actually so that he could make a figure of a sheep at the end of it, so that I. It was crazy. He was having a good laugh about that. Made it look really funny on the screen.
Doris?
Yes.
No, I thought she was going to say something. All right, let's talk about the album. Long time. It's been a long time. Long time that you thought about doing a blues album. It's also sort of a love song, but go ahead.
It's
inspiration. Yeah.
Do you know what? In general, again, when I sort of thought, okay, you're going to write a whole blues album. Blues, in essence, is about feeling blue. You know, that it's about sad things. It's about the dog running off and your wife's left you and you've lost your job and I don't know, it's raining and you've got a hole in the roof and all the bad things. And the thing is, my life is not sad. I'm not really a sad person. Neither is Lee. We're not really sad people. We're not depressive. We tend to laugh at things. We find the funny side in things. We can be serious, but serious is not depressed. And so I thought, you know, what sad things happen in life? And of course, relationships ending is always something. I've never been good at relationships. So there are several songs like, Is This the Last Time? And dysfunctional songs where just two people don't quite gel for some reason and things don't work out. So I think Long Time is one of those where you get stuck waiting for something that will never happen, which is not about me. I mean, a lot of songs in general that I write are not about me anyway, because I'm not that interesting, to be honest. But other things around me are really interesting. So I often write about ideas, about other people, about other situations, I read a lot, you know, so there's a lot of food that for ideas and thoughts. And so Long Time is just super simple. I mean, the lyrics it doesn't get more simple than that, but it's literally about wasting your life waiting for someone who's never going to come back to you.
And then You Should Have Known is the second. And you're basically doubling down on that.
But funnily enough, You Should Have Known, Lee wrote the song, the basis of the song. He sent me a riff, and as Lee often does when he's writing songs, he doesn't always write lyrics with it, or he'll write a few lyrics and then there's a lot of na 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 and things. And so it's like a jigsaw puzzle where I want to keep some of the sounds or the words that he's stuck in and try and make sense of it and create something out of it, you know, turn it into something meaningful. And so this was the song that Lee sent with some and it actually had the You Should Have Known and then nothing. So yeah, it was this sort of jigsaw. And of course, You Should Have Known, you kind of think, well, what could that mean? Where could that take you? So yes, that's why it turned into what it did. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very puzzly, that one, wasn't it? I wasn't even sure that was going to make the album, that song, at one point. It was very disfigured, that song, for a long time, wasn't it?
Well, we sent it back. I kind of came up with some ideas and then pinged it back to Lee. And then I don't think he had it
didn't have a chorus, did it?
That's right, it didn't have a chorus. So then I just strummed out a chorus where I thought, oh, this could be, well, how about this? But you obviously need to find a band arrangement. So then he did a band arrangement to it, sent it back again. And then I redid the vocals on that and did something else. And then it went back and then you added another bit. And yeah, so it was, sometimes it's just sometimes I've got a song and it's like, there's a song and it just is. And sometimes we change it and add it and play around with it. And that was definitely the playing around song, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was, but it didn't come out ending like it was a puzzle at all. It came out sounding like it was a really great song, didn't it?
Oh, I really, really like that one. And just talking about Lee's guitar, the solo at the end
Yeah.
is awesome. That is so good, and it's not a blues solo. It's a guitar hero. Oh my God, how can you play that solo? It's my favorite guitar solo on the whole album. It's brilliant.
It's been causing me a pain in the arse trying to play it for the gig we were going to play. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes you play stuff on record and you curse yourself afterwards because you go, why couldn't I play something easy? Why have I just put that on there? It's really hard now. So yeah, caused me a lot of trouble, that bloody solo.
You really pushed yourself. Yeah, that's awesome though. Then there's Under the Covers, which it sounds jazzy, which is good.
Do you know what? It's an unusual for a blues song because it's in a major key. It's got loads of major chords in it. And in fact, Lee put when I sent it back, he actually changed some of those major chords to minor chords. And I had to say, no, they're major chords, which goes against everything that you want from the blues. So it's got this kind of hopeful feel about it. It's got, one of the songs that stuck in my brain the most, the chorus of that is so catchy. It really is catchy. But as I say, from a sort of music point of view, it's unusual because there's loads of major chords in it, yet it's still really bluesy, which is quite unusual.
That's a good one. I enjoy that song. It's a good song.
All right.
Yeah.
And Wi-Fi. How deep are you guys into having slow Wi-Fi? And we actually have had that in this area here. I think I just got done telling them, but a lot of people may not know, but we're real close to Canada. And when you go to certain areas north of here, you actually run into, and I know you're not really talking directly about this, but you get slow Wi-Fi, or the Wi-Fi is picked up by the Canadian tower. And there's actually a city real close to the border there, Blaine, where people were not getting their Wi-Fi because of this situation.
It's terrible. It's a terrible modern day tragedy when you can't get it. See, I thought this is a typical song for me where I thought, what actually upsets me, right? Because I'm kind of, like I said before, I'm quite of a happy person, but there are things that will really get to me. Those phone lines, when something doesn't work and you spend half an hour on a phone line trying to get, that's one of them. So hold on, we'll get to that. But yeah, Wi-Fi. I do so much. I mean, my TV works on Wi-Fi. Everything works on Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So when it goes down, it can absolutely wreck my day. Now we have the BBC here, the iPlayer. For some reason, sometimes it doesn't work properly, and it buffers and it buffers. And every program I try and watch, and it's a program I really, 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 really want to see, and it keeps interrupting, and these things are so upsetting. So slow Wi-Fi weekend, I know it sounds really fun and it's very silly. Of course it's silly, because in the grand scheme of things, there's people in wars, there's people being killed, there's people being, there's so many terrible things, and there's me griping about the Wi-Fi. So I know how ridiculous it is, but my God, it can ruin my day.
And yeah, absolutely. And we're old enough to remember the old cable. You turn it on.
Dial up. Do you remember that? And the sound it used to make, that.
Yeah.
Well, no. I mean, just cable. At least over here, cable TV. You turned it on. You had everything you wanted. It never, went out, or and same with phone lines. I used to work a long time ago for the AT&T, the phone company, and you knew that thing was going to ring when it needed to ring, and you knew that if you had an emergency, you could pick up the phone and get what you needed. but yeah, I haven't had any problems with the phone, so thank God for that. But definitely all sorts
I
of
I
TV.
questioned when we were doing the album. When I first heard the preliminary sort of takes of the songs, I questioned the sort of vibe of it that we wanted. And I remember you saying, Doz, I remember you saying that you were trying to connect with as many things that people can connect to. You know, the more people that can connect to something. I mean, who hasn't had crap Wi-Fi? It's as simple as that. Everyone has that's going to listen to this album at some point has watched that little blue thing going around on the internet forever that you're going, oh my God, especially, and it seems to happen when you need it the most and you're like, I
Yes.
really need to do this.
Yes.
Where if you're just filling out a form or something and you're watching your computer,
You've just spent ages online filling in a form or doing something like that, and the Wi-Fi cuts out. And you think, oh my God, I've got to start that all over again. And I didn't save it. And, it's just things like that, which if you're going to do a blues album, I thought, let's make it a modern blues album where it's not just about the usual things. And of course, the usual things are awful, but let's put in the things that upset us in 2025, the UK, the Western world.
And as a matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, I planned this big, maybe 3 weeks ago. Anyway, I planned this big debut for a new program I'm doing. And that particular day, I came in early to, try to get all this stuff working. It was dead. I actually had to use my phone to make that thing happen. And, you're planning. I mean, yes, just like you said, the everyday TV, that's a pain in the keister.
Yeah.
But then you have something big planned like I did, and I'm, excited about it. And you walk in and nothing's working. And it's like, it really is frustrating. And
it can wreck your day. Absolutely.
it really did.
Yes.
Almost. And we got the phone to help us, but it turned into a pretty good day actually. But yeah, it was more work, and I think that's what another thing you're thinking of is you only have so much time on the weekends to enjoy yourself. You don't want to sit there watching like Elise said, a ball spin around.
Do you know these days as well, where everyone has got their head stuck in a phone? I mean, for some people, it's probably a really good thing if the internet goes down, just so they actually look up at, I don't know, the sky or something. But so I think it depends. I think sometimes it can be a good thing, but I think especially when you need it for work or you're in the middle of doing something, it's just awful. Yes.
Yeah, it definitely brings the blues. Is this the last time? And this is definitely Somebody's Done Me Wrong song, I think. That's what we used to call
No, do you know what? I see this more as two people that have got that clash, but really care about each other, but they clash too much for it to actually work out. I think there's a lot of affection in that song, which is why the duo works really well, because that's the one where Sam Blues sings it as a duet. And there's two people who, like I say, both really care for each other, but it's just not working. It's not gelling. The interests are too different. Everything is just, it's just too, one person is going up on the escalator and the other one's going down. One person's going in through the door and the other one's coming out, and you stand apart in the crowd. So it's not really a one person has done something bad to the other, but it's just, I think it's the acknowledgement that relationships don't always work out without something really bad having happened. Sometimes you can just drift apart.
Yeah, I think so. That song for me is all about the vocals. Honestly, that song. If you want to hear two beautiful vocalists sing a beautiful song, it's that one. It really is a good song. Just when you were talking, I was just singing the parts in my head of that song. And there's a breakdown part in the second verse where you can really hear the vocals and the voices of how they sound up close are just lovely. Really, really nice. I can still hear that now. Really nice.
That's going to be our last single, by the way. Under the
Is
Covers
it?
is coming next week, and then that is the 5th single before the album release. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's a
have
good song.
I have a feeling that next video might be in the doghouse.
Do you know what?
Pretty good
Do,
guess,
do
or
you know what? And Lee doesn't even know about this. It's not actually in the doghouse. It's what has happened to my dog. But it's a dog related video that I've just started working on. Do you want to? I mean, okay, this is a premiere here.
thank you.
Okay, Lee,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So this is what's going to happen. I am going to do an extra video. I'm super busy right now with all the promotions and everything, but it will get done. I've started. And what has happened to my dog, which is we're jumping ahead now to one of the last songs on the album, but it's like the blues is like, oh, my dog ran away. I thought, yeah, let's do a my dog ran away track, because I used to have dogs. I have a cat now, but I've always had dogs, and I love my dogs. And when the dog goes missing once a year because he's decided to go for a walkabout, it's the most terrifying, horrible thing
Yes.
ever. So that's it's a really silly track, but there's going to be a video for that. I'm going to do a video. It's going to be AI video, and it's going to all be dogs and their owners that look really similar.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Right. So it's just, and I've already started down creating some footage of, like, guy who looks just like his poodle. And then they both smile at the same time, and things like that, just women who
Yeah.
look like their dogs, and yeah. So that there will be another video which has not been completed yet, and it's going to be a very silly one, but I think it's going to be a goodie. So there you go, world premiere exclusive.
I really
Look
appreciate
forward to it.
All right. And then I think one of the best songs is the Red Letter Blues. It really gets deep down. Stevie Ray Vaughan. I mean, no, I know you guys aren't copying him, but that one really hit me and way before Prague, I was, even before Zeppelin, I was into the, Southern blues. So for me, that one just really hit home. We all fight with how we're going to survive, especially this happens when you're younger. So I want to just ask you this. How did you deal with, low funds? We all go through that somewhere in our lives. For me, it was when I was much, much younger. Not that I'm a millionaire by any stretch of the imagination, but um, you learn how to cope and deal with it as you get older. But when you're younger, and that's the best time of your life. And it's like, why don't I have more money? How do you deal with that? What's
Okay,
your advice? Go ahead.
I will put my hands up to say that my dad is very wealthy. So I've never been in that situation, that so many other people I know, most of my friends, in fact, have been in that situation where if it all goes to shit, if it all falls apart, you've got nobody to pick you up again. And I think and I've never had to deal with that. Now, having said that, I have been really skint in my life, again, when I was younger, when things have gone wrong. And the last thing I've ever wanted to do was to go to my dad for help because of my pride, because that would be a really terrible thing. I'm really fiercely independent, and I've always really felt I had to prove myself. And there was a time, I think the worst time was when, in the early 90s, and I'd been signed to Sony, and it was a big recession over here at the time, and a lot of people got dropped from their record labels. I was one of them. My band split. There was difficult. My boyfriend left me, and this is a proper blues song, right? And my boyfriend left me, and I had a mortgage on a house, but because of the recession, it was worse. The house was worth less than the
Yeah.
mortgage, and my boyfriend wanted to sell, and I said, well, I can't not have anywhere not have anywhere to live and be in debt. And it was probably the toughest time, and I managed somehow not to go to my dad for help, but it was really tough. But like I say, knowing that you've got a safety net if everything goes really bad is really, really different from not having that safety net in the first place. So I've always been in a privileged position, and I have to accept that my levels of stress were never going to be the same levels of stress that a lot of other people I know have had to endure, So, I mean, Lee doesn't come from a wealthy family, for example.
No, I just managed to graft my way through, I think. I mean, I remember when I very first met you, Dos, I was driving a lorry and playing guitar and doing as much as I could. I was burning the candle at both ends. When I think about how much sleep I used to have, it's scary. Especially when I was driving a lorry on that little amount of sleep. That's dangerous. But anyway, I just managed to just keep working. And the thing is that I'm not a spender. I wasn't ever someone who just went, oh, I've got this and now I'm going to spend it on that. I knew I had a goal, and the goal was to try and get a mortgage for a house, to try and get enough money to. And once you got a property, or you start on that ladder, once you get on that step, then when things went wrong for me because we were gigging all the time, and then I split up with the girlfriend that I was with, and it all went wrong there, and I thought I'd have to sell the house, but instead I put the house up for sale, or I turned around and said. At one point, it was whatever comes first, either the sale of the house or getting 3 lodgers in to live in the house, because I just wasn't there and I couldn't afford the house on my own because I was splitting it with my partner at the time who'd just left. And I remember thinking to myself, well, something has to give. I can't afford the house on my own. And it turned out that luck sent 3 wonderful people to come and live in my house for me that paid me the rent to just sort of pay for the mortgage. And as I was only there one day a week for 5 years, they basically just paid my mortgage for me. And when I finally did move back into that house again, it had been paid off, a lot of it. And so I was fine again. So I think I've just been quite lucky. I can attribute that to a little bit of savviness on my behalf. But a lot of the time, things have always been tough, but I don't know, sometimes it's just harder for some people than it is others. And I do feel like in my life I've been dealt a very lucky good hand, and I haven't got anything to complain about. I shouldn't be writing the blues, that's for sure.
Yeah.
not in my life.
Mark, both me and Lee are very similar. That we're quite positive about things. So we don't sort of wallow in inactivity, but we're both very hyper. We're both, we'll do any job and just get on with things and go, okay, if this isn't working, how can we get it to work? And so we're really, really proactive people. And I think you do make your own luck to quite a big degree. I think if you're negative, I know I've met so many people who go, oh, I wish I could do that, but never end up doing anything. And it really frustrates me because I think, life is for the living. You've got to, you have to get out there and do it. And you're not going to succeed at everything. Nobody does, or very few people do. But if you never try, I think it's fear of failure. A lot of people are scared to fail. Sure. So they don't do anything. So I think me and Lee we're always going to be kind of all right because of our personalities, because of our drive. But by the same token, with Red Letter Blues, do you know what? It's so expensive over here now. Things have got so expensive. Now I'm okay. I can afford these things, but once a month I go to the supermarket and everything's gone up in price. I don't know how people manage. I really don't. I've paid for my house. I'm okay. I'm really, really lucky. But most of the people I know haven't. Most of the people I know are on basic wages or unreasonable wages. But I don't know how people manage it. Rents are so expensive over here and things. So I have a lot of empathy and a lot of sympathy with people right now who aren't really privileged.
But you guys have a much, and this will be a good question in itself. You guys have a much better safety net than we, through the government and things like that, than we do.
Yes.
And now we got a guy in there that wants to just empty all the nets and cut them away. But I think you guys get, and check me if I'm wrong, usually a month off.
What, for holidays, you mean?
Holiday, yeah.
I haven't been employed for so long. I think you get 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah, standard.
Okay.
You get
nothing unless, when you're working, they, add up your time. And if you put in enough time, then you get vacation. I'm not saying you don't get
no, that's the same here. The same here. You have to work for a company for a while. There's also 0-hour contracts over here where you don't get any sick pay or any holiday pay. So it's not it's not super easy for a lot of people.
Isn't there a government subsidy for some of this over there, or am I completely off base?
But you know what? It's getting harder and harder. I have a friend who got run over by a van, right,
Oh,
and
God.
spent a year in hospital with his legs broken and lost his job, and he's had to battle for every penny. You know, it's not easy and it's not a lot, so it's not a great way to live.
No.
But you know, there is a safety net, which, and I think it's better than yours. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Then you've got the free healthcare still,
Yes,
yeah,
but
but
only
you have to wait.
if you're
Yeah.
dying, you'll be okay, you'll be looked after. But if you need a new hip, you've got to wait for 4 years, right? So it's
It's
not
a,
ideal. Again,
it's a
there's
big
a
long waiting list
yeah, and
for
certain
everything.
things you can't get done. If you need a hernia operation, you can't get it done. You have to get it done privately. It's changed a lot because we've got an aging population. There's only so much money, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not so easy, but it's better. Again, it's much better than America. Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, yeah,
Well, we're hoping we're hoping that'll change. But yeah,
yeah. I hope that for
it's
you too.
even. I mean, it was tough. Now it's even tougher. Yeah, with who's in the office there. All right, enough of that because we already talked about that. She and I both have an interest in politics, and the rest of the show will be politics, so we won't do that. But this could be political as well. Satin Row, is it any reference to Seville Row or not at all?
No, do you know what? I just like the sound of it.
Okay.
I wanted something that sounded fabricy and smooth and slightly erotic, and but I didn't want to make it a real place, so I just
Okay.
invented Satin Row um to be this. It's like a red light district, but of course you've seen the video. I
Yeah.
don't like making I don't want to do porn. It's
I know.
it's much more subtle than that. It's um being corrupted by the bright lights and the neon, and um yeah, again, as a song, it's very simple. Mama says, "Don't go down there; you'll get corrupted," but you just have to go. Yeah.
And
Isn't
I
that
know,
song?
yeah,
I
and I
thought that
know
song was. Sorry.
Seville Road's a very expensive place, so it's not this rundown. I'm trying to think of the place down in LA that Stevie Ray Vaughan sings about, where they basically let you out of the hospital and good luck, go there. Skid
I
Row.
don't know. Satin Row's a little bit seedy, I think. You know, it's not where the posh people go. What did you think, Lee?
I thought that Satin Row was a show. Was it not like on Amazon? Was it not like a hit show with?
If it is, I don't know anything about it, so I've got to check
Well,
that
it's
out.
about exactly that. I'm sure it's Orlando
No,
Bloom, isn't it?
really?
Yeah, I'm sure. I might be wrong, and
Wow.
maybe it's called something else, but it's exactly that where you sort of shouldn't go down there, and it's full of weird people. I thought that that was what you sort of aimed it at,
Really?
but
Oh
I
my
think
God.
so.
Yeah, no
I
idea.
might
But
be
if it
wrong. It might
is,
not be called that, but I'm sure it's called something Row. Don't know. Now you got my
see.
memory working now. I'm
So
not
now
sure, but
everyone's
I
going to
know
have
that.
to Google it and find out about it.
Yeah,
And
have a look. It's good to watch anyway. I enjoyed it.
well, I didn't base this selling row on it, but it's
No,
obviously
no,
it's
sure.
supposed
It
to
might not
be
have been called that. It might. It's something Row. I'm
alluring,
sure it is.
futuristic,
Well,
alluring, slightly
there's a Skid
seedy,
Row.
kind of fun, exciting. Yeah, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not Skid Row is just the opposite. It's as close to hell as you can get. And
Yeah, no,
there
no,
and
no.
I thought it was just a name somebody made up, but there actually is a place in LA called Skid Row, and they the latest thing they're doing is hospitals are just kind of dumping people there. Um,
Oh
yeah,
God.
it's horrible. But
That sounds. I have heard of Skid Row, but yes, that's not.
Carnival Row. That's what it's called.
oh, okay.
Ah, there we go.
Sorry, just popped into my head. Carnival Row. That's what it was called, not Satin Row. Carnival Row, but that's a similar thing where,
Yeah.
it's a similar sort of place where it's all a weird place that everyone wants to go, but it's a bit seedy, bit dark.
Don't you love it when you remember something?
Yeah.
To be fair, I do, but I didn't because I just looked it up. I cheated.
Hey, that happens to me every once in a while. Um, just throw. I just want to throw a couple of tunes at you and just see. Do you remember Black Velvet by Alana
Of
Miles?
course. Yeah.
Okay.
It's got the similar bass line, which is why everyone goes, oh, it's a bit like Black Velvet. But it's one of those bass lines that has been used in several tracks. It's just Black Velvet made it really famous.
Famous, yeah. And
Yeah.
then there's a little bit, not exactly, but that KT Tunstall's Black Horse and the Cherry Tree.
Cherry Tree.
Remember that one?
Yeah, I can see that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah, no,
We
Yeah.
are all
not saying
influenced.
you copied
Yeah.
any of these people, but
Hey, listen, if we're going to be
think you
compared to
like-
those two songs, there's no problem with being compared to those two songs, is there,
No,
really?
no, I was
No, go ahead.
and so you both like those. Yeah, I was gonna just ask you if you like both of those songs, and
Yeah, why not? They're great songs.
Classics.
Classic songs.
Absolutely. Yeah. If mine is even half as popular or successful, I'll be a very happy woman.
Me too. And I'm not even a woman.
Yeah, you're going to be a happy woman, Lee.
Well, I will be a happy woman, I promise you.
okay. And hold on, I think this is Lee's. For me, it was his sort of standout moment. I mean, that solo guitar just really took me back to Stevie Ray. I know, again, you're not copying him or anything like that, but
No.
what was the inspiration of that? And am I just overblowing it, or do you feel the same way, Doris, that was one of his? I mean, he had a lot of great moments, but to me, that was one of the best on the album.
That's it. I'm going to have to listen to it again now and really home in on the guitars. The problem when you're a singer is you tend to home in on your vocals quite a lot of the time. I know that's really not a good thing to do, but it's.
You big head.
I know. Well, no, but it's like, is it good? Is it, what am I doing? Is it right? Is it, but no, I think all of Lee's guitars are really good. So, I mean, there's nothing where I think he hasn't really given it a lot of thought. And I mean, you can tell he really spent a lot of time on it, which is, but Lee always spends a lot of time on the albums, but it's nice that that's coming across, definitely.
Let's have him go ahead and talk about.
I wasn't expecting to get as many people comment on it as I was, because I felt a little bit out of my depth recording them, to be fair, but in a funny sort of way, I really enjoyed playing that style of music. I really enjoyed playing that, sort of getting my teeth into it. I found it harder than I thought I was going to, which was interesting, because it's very easy just to stick to sort of one scale, that blues scale, and you can just play the notes and you can not think and just play, which is nice. Whereas prog's much more thoughtful. It really hurts your brain sometimes. Whereas blues isn't like that, or doesn't have to be like that. But I was surprised when you push yourself to play with such emotion, it does hurt your brain. You do have to try really, really hard to choose the right notes and put them in the right place. And I found that to be the bit that I got my teeth into, was exactly that. And hopefully there's something on every song that makes you go, that's really good. I listen to some parts of the song and I think to myself, that's a good bit of guitar playing. I really like that. And there's something on every song, which is a really good sign for me. That I was really pleased with how the guitar parts came out. And if you can, like I say, if it's Stevie Ray Vaughan that you're comparing me to, fantastic. That's
Nothing
really
wrong with
great.
that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
No, it's not. No, not at all.
No, he's had loads of compliments. I mean, obviously, we get a lot of private messages and things as well. And there's been so many, more than usual compliments from the guitar. Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
Today's the day. You got to make it happen today. I love that song.
Do you know what?
So many people
see this.
Are waiting and waiting and waiting, and you're just getting older. Do it today. Yeah, at least that's what I see.
Do you know what I think of with that song?
Go ahead.
And once I thought it, I couldn't get it out of my head. It's like the coming out song, like a trans person, and I'd love, this is a video that AI won't do because it's too complicated, but I love the idea of a video of a guy with his family, and as soon as they go out, he puts the dress on and the makeup on and the shoes, and and then but it's a big secret, and he's never found the courage to tell his family and then today's the day, and he tells them, and they're kind of horrified because it's a shock, they don't know. And he moves away, and he lives his life as a woman and looks fabulous, and then his daughter is the first to come around and give him a hug. And I just loved that sort of, that whole idea. It must be such a difficult thing to do and so difficult. But whenever I thought, today's the day, I'm going to live my truth, and it's never the right moment, I really thought of that story. And yeah, so it's kind of my trans coming out song, but of course it can be used for so many different things and so many different scenarios.
Yeah.
And it's very catchy, it's very poppy. Yeah.
Anything you want to say about that one, Lee?
No, I think that's it. There's so many different things that it can be pointed at. Like you just said. To you, it was do something today. Whatever it is you're thinking of, if you do it today, don't wait on it. Go and do it. And I can see that in a lot of people. You can put stuff off. The procrastination is just immense throughout human life. You can see it sometimes, and where people just can't or won't. I don't know whether it's can't or won't. Or with that feeling of, like you say, again, it's what happens if I fail, and all of that sort of feelings of all of that. And if you just go and do it, sometimes it just goes, yeah, there you go. I think some people don't mind, and other people just can't. I think that is it. They just can't.
Do that's partly what that song is about? Is to make somebody go, yeah, I'm going to do it today. Because it's a really empowering song. It's like, no, today is the day. Today's the day I'm going to do it.
Exactly.
And I hope that if just one person listens to it and goes, yeah, do you know what? I've put this off for ages. It is today. I'm going to do it today. And to feel positive. Again, it's got lots of major chords in it. It's very sort of positive and empowering as a song. So I don't know, maybe it'll change somebody's life. That'd be nice.
Yeah, you'll never know, will you?
Yeah, I remember when I was in high school, I was very, very conservative, and it was just like that. Should I do this? Should I not? And there's so many things that I could have done and didn't do. And I'm old enough now to come back, and I'm a father as well, and do it. Don't wait. Give it a try. Like Lee said, don't be afraid to make mistakes. You're gonna make mistakes. We all do. We're human. And
that's how we learn. Through mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So excellent. And then absolutely nobody loves cold coffee. And so drink that coffee before you leave. What is drink it while it's hot. No, go. I'm just teasing.
This is my procrastination song, and I don't know if people have got that about this song actually that I've heard. Well, not that many people have heard it yet, but it's my procrastination song. I'm no longer a smoker. I smoked for many years, and smoking is the wonderful break. Right, whatever you're doing, it's like, no, I need to have a break and go and have a cigarette, and all you do is have a cigarette. And I think in a lot of ways, cups of tea and coffee, depending on what you're, I actually don't drink coffee, I drink tea. But it's like a break. It's like stop what you're doing, have a cup of tea, get away from everything. It's like this is sort of enforced break, which can be really good, but if you can overuse it. And I think some people have that cup of tea and they go, well, no, I'll do something after I have the cup of tea or the cup of coffee. In this case, I'm going to do it after I have the cup of coffee. And you, in this particular scenario, sitting in the coffee shop, you're having a cup of coffee. It's like, and you're going to do whatever it is you need to do once you finish that cup of coffee, but you just can't bring yourself to finish that cup of coffee because you're procrastinating and the coffee is cold and you still haven't finished it because so it's like that real procrastination, and you just end up sitting in that coffee shop all bloody day not doing anything you're supposed to do, and that's what cold coffee blues is all about.
Do you know what? I think I don't drink tea or coffee exactly because of that reason.
Really?
I honestly think that, and the fact that I didn't really like anything hot. I think I got burnt too much. My mum used to give me some really hot stuff when I was a kid. It's like, yeah, have this. I don't know, have this apple pie, and I'd eat it and burn my mouth, and I'd never ate apple pies again. I think she must have done that with hot drinks as well. But I did watch people. I remember watching people have tea or coffee, and they used to say, "I'm going to go and have a tea or coffee," and I'm like, "But there's a job to do. There's work to be done." Let's
Yeah.
finish it now. Let's all just carry on, and we'll finish it in half an hour. But if we all go and have a cup of tea, I've got another. That's another hour. I don't want to be here another hour. Come on, let's crack on.
No.
And I remember thinking that, it's like, why is everyone trying to stop what they're doing? I didn't when I was younger.
But sometimes it's good to have a break from something. You know, like when you get into, it's like when you're in the studio and you make that same mistake every time. You've got like this mental block with something.
Yes, yeah.
The only good thing you can do is to stop, go and have a cup of tea, or have a little breath, or just take your mind, go and do something completely different. Come back to it, and then you do it. And actually, breaks are often a really good thing to do. It makes you more productive. It's when you take too long with those breaks. When I have a cup of tea, when I stop for a cup of tea when we're in the studio, I go into your kitchen, I make a cup of tea, I bring it back into the studio. So we've had 5 or 10 minutes doing that. Yeah. And then we carry on working and I drink it as I'm working.
Yes.
So that's the difference. That's the difference between procrastinating and going, no, I just need to drag this break out, to using it as something that is actually often beneficial to your workflow.
Yeah. And over here, that's why I looked at it the opposite direction. And it's even worse in Japan, where, you're constantly moving. China, you're constantly working, and you picked up that tea. Maybe they had one in the break room. It's sitting on your desk and you never touch it because you're so with your work. And that's because that happens over here. I mean, I've seen people go to the break room, they get something, and then I'm in customer service and they're on the phone all the time. They don't end up drinking it. And it's like, or by the time they drink it, it's cold. And but I can see both ways though. And
that explains why some people, I think, have misunderstood it. Yes. And now I get it. You can see, both. But this is the procrastination cup of cold coffee.
Okay. Good.
I played a Telecaster on that song as well. I've never played a Telecaster ever, and I bought one for this album, and then I couldn't find a place to play it. I couldn't find a song I wanted to play it on because they were all sort of Strat or Les Paul based, and that song was, I thought to myself, I've got to play it on one song, and I played it on that song, and that's a very it made that special sound. It was good. I really enjoyed playing a Telecaster. I didn't think I would, but I do.
You do a great job. Yeah. You kind of already talked about what has happened to my dog.
Yes.
But do you want to add anything else?
It's very silly and quite rude. I mean, it really illustrates that you would do absolutely anything for your dog. Absolutely anything. Anything goes. When your dog goes missing, it's you sell a kidney to get your dog back. So as a blues song, it's a bit of a comedy blues, but no less true.
That was a difficult song to try and make bluesy because it's sort of such a pop song.
Is it?
It really is. Well, it's up tempo and it's really sort of quick and fast. That I tried to. I don't remember. We went backwards and forwards of it 3 or 4 times with me giving different versions of it, and it was. Is it called the Texas Strut on Gary Moore's album, Texas Blues, something like that? On Still Got the Blues. That song.
Yeah.
I heard that and I thought to myself, that sounds like it's in the same tempo. And then that spurred me on to go, okay, it can sound like that. I can get it to sound a little bit more. I'm not sure that I'd say it's bluesy. Do you think that song's bluesy?
Me? Yeah.
Mark? You do?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, there you go. It worked then. I did it. Yay!
Do you know what? When we finished the album, Lee said, well, it's not very bluesy. And I said, I think it is. I think it's really bluesy. But I think it depends how purist you are. Again, different people have got different ideas of what blues is. And for some people, this is too modern to be blues. For me, it's super bluesy. I think it's a blues album. Totally.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. In my way of hearing blues, it didn't have the characteristics of the deep, I don't know, blues that I wanted it to have. It didn't have that. But then it's more, like I say, songwriting ballads of blues is that. But maybe I'm wrong. I mean, what do I know? Like, I've already held my hands up and said, I'm way out of my depth here, so I don't know the categories well enough.
Not at all. Not anymore.
He's a blues master now. No.
Apparently so. Well, I've listened to enough guitar players to know how to listen to it and play it, and I know how it works, but it doesn't mean to say that I'm the guru of all blues. I'm not.
But you'll get there. You're going to get
Yeah,
there.
I will. Sure.
I just got to ask you, do you guys in England, in the UK, do you have refrigerated dog food?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I don't use it. I've got two dogs, so I
Well,
don't give my dogs food.
no,
No.
no. That's how far it's come over here, where, yeah, absolutely. Uh, they have commercials about them. They're really funny. But and I don't have a dog now, but I've had several in my time, and loved every one of them. But I don't think I could buy refrigerated food for the dog. I mean, probably I could now these days, but it's. I mean, there's people that buy clothing and the whole thing, and
Oh
it looks
no,
nice.
no.
Nothing
Well,
wrong with that. I'm not
one of
saying
Lee's
uh,
dogs is the size of a small cottage. Um, so if he had refrigerated food for the dog, he'd probably need another fridge.
I was going to say, Lucy would need to have her own fridge to put it
Saint
in.
Bernard or what's the other one? The horse one.
She's a Caucasian Shepherd. She's
Oh,
just
okay.
a big old mountain dog. She's soppy as you like, but she's just not. Yeah, she eats. I've got a Labrador who has 2 scoops of food,
Wow.
and I've got a Caucasian Shepherd that has 7 scoops of food.
Oh my
That's
God.
Oh my God.
that's the difference of size.
The Labrador, which is a normal sized Labrador, can fit underneath the other dog. Seriously. The big dog can just step over the Labrador.
Yeah, she's very young. The bigger dog's very young. She's only 1. She's about 1.5 now, and the Labrador's like 9. And the trouble is, the Labrador tries to play top dog and sort of tells her off, and then she goes, "I'm just going to play with you," and then that's when all hell breaks loose because she just can't cope with the size.
Sounds like he has a fun place. Yeah, no wonder you like recording over there, right?
Yeah. Madness.
Madness. The mad animal house. Yes.
Mad Animal House. Yeah.
All right, and then there's the big Western like closer. To me, and I'll ask you: are you guys Eagles fans? I compared it to the Eagles. I mean, it's again, you're not
It's a
copying
wonderful
them,
comparison. I mean, it's a
yeah.
great comparison.
But the title song, "Big Blue Sky." Go ahead, talk about that one.
It was one of the early ones that I wrote. And again, we named the album after. We actually toyed with having a band name, Big Blue Sky, and
Yeah,
thought
take
would be
that show
nice,
on the road. Yeah,
but people kind of said, "Oh, it's too confusing because people know who you are; they won't know who Big Blue Sky is." So I kind of got talked out of it. So we thought, let's call the album Big Blue Sky instead, which was, like I said, one of the early songs. It's probably one of my less favorite tracks, but that's only because some of the other ones turned out so good.
See, I really like that track now.
yeah.
I think it's really good.
I love the slowdown where it goes into the yeehaw, yeah, bits where everyone's shouting. I love that bit, which made it such a great track to finish the album with. You know, it was a real sort of good closer. But that's my favorite bit in that song, is where it gets
Yeah.
all shouty and yeah, it's great. Love it.
Yeah, I thought because that one as well, you were unhappy with that for quite some time, and that went backwards and forwards for a while of
Yeah,
riffs and bits and
yeah.
pieces. And I tried lots and lots of different things to make that different, and that was how it needed to be. I couldn't make that sit any better than it did.
Yeah.
And then once it sort of started to become its own thing, and you put it together, and it starts to say, okay, we're going to definitely go down this road, and then you start to glue all the parts together, and the instrumentation and the vocals. I thought it works really, really well. As I say, as an end song, it's brilliant for
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's
It's
perfect
really
as an
great to
end.
finish that album. It was
Yeah.
perfect. It sounds great, really good.
And again, it's not a blues topic, it's all about go outside and you'll feel better.
Yeah.
So again, it's quite a positive, it's quite a lot of positive messaging, I think, in the album. It's a real mix. It's a mix of, my dog's disappeared to got no Wi-Fi to today's the day and go out and enjoy the countryside. So I hope that like I say, it's boring to do the same thing again and again. I think there has to be, on each album, there has to be some variety, a variety of emotion and a variety of topics and a variety of music. And so I hope that's all there, even though it's all a blues
Yeah.
album.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You don't stay on one chord. That's good. And
What was your favourite song of the album, Mark?
um, it's either Big Blue Sky or now Satin Row has jumped up there. Red Letter Blues, the Slow Wi-Fi. It's hard to say one. I think
Good.
the one
See,
where you had that Stevie Ray that I just mentioned, that was really good. They're all good. Yeah. Uh, Atlanta Miles, Black Velvet, that kind of sound. I mean, just everything.
there's some good tracks on there, isn't there? So I said there's probably 7 or 8 singles on there that really hit home. They're really good tracks. They are.
Whoever between you, had the final word and said we need to do a blues album. Thank God you did, or obviously you agreed to do it together.
Thank you.
That's kind of you.
Yeah, no, it is, because I don't think I just won a prog award, and I think some of our prog fans are probably going, "What the hell are they doing now?" But some of them aren't. Some of them are really embracing it.
Something
So
like that. I think Prague Magazine said something like that when they introduced it. But hey, she wins the Prague Award and then goes this direction. But really, like you said way back at the beginning of this, progressive needs change. And not that this is going to ever be progressive music, but it should embrace elements of all genres, really. And so the two last questions.
sure.
You do all the artwork, I'm guessing, Doris?
I do now. I do now. I used to not always. I haven't done all of the album covers myself, but again, AI, AI,
Yeah.
AI. I use AI for a lot of things. I mean, the Pigs Might Fly cover I did as well without AI. I did that, but I did that with Photoshop. So again, it's where do you draw the line? We did that during lockdown. We all took photos of each other, well, of ourselves, and sent them to me or the band, and I comped everything together on a computer. Now with AI, it's even easier. So I've been doing lots and lots of artwork. So yeah, I do the covers now, but we have a guy called Ian Foxon who puts all the CD booklets together for us. So I send him all the elements and all the pictures and too much stuff. And I just say, pick whatever you think will look good. And I leave the final word to him as to what goes onto into the booklets.
Yeah, he's a good guy, yeah.
Yeah. So I still need some help. It's also good to have an outside view. Sometimes I just have too much now. I have too many things. So it's good to have somebody else just take a different viewpoint over it. Yeah.
And then the big question, what's next?
Oh my God. Do you know what? We haven't really even got that far. One thing, because we've been doing a lot of acoustic shows, we're going to do a sort of live-ish album of some of the tracks that we play acoustically together. So I mean, where we're just going to record it, but just make it sound good. Just because a lot of people have seen our acoustic set, but we haven't got that on. But that shouldn't take too long. Famous last words. I don't know what's next, because we've got.
We've still got an album. We've still got an album because we did. It was a double album. The last prog album. Pigs Might Fly was really a double album, but we cut the songs in half, and I've still got that we haven't even delved back into yet. So we've got another
And
album
I've
really
got
with all the
loads of
songs
other
written.
songs as well. I've got a whole bunch of other songs which we may
Yeah.
or may not use. And we've got a whole load of songs that we've recorded that we've never put out on anything because they don't really fit anywhere. But
I think we're
no,
waiting. I think we're
yeah,
waiting to see what happens with this album, because if there's a bigger call for this album to have another follow up, then maybe that we should do another blues album. But if it's sort of it stays as it is, and it's like, okay, I understand that you can't walk into another genre and say, here we are, we've
ta-da!
sold 1,000 million copies. Why don't you love us as much as you did when we was in the prog scene, or vice versa? I understand that, but on the other hand, sometimes things just happen. And I think if
Yeah,
something does happen, and then perhaps we make another blues album. I think we just need to wait a little bit before we make that
yeah,
decision of where we go next, because time, unfortunately, is not on anyone's side anymore.
no,
So you have to
no,
sort of dictate where you want to put your efforts these days, and what we really
yeah,
want to go and do. And that hasn't. We're still doing this album, and I think we're just living in the moment of seeing what happens here,
yeah.
and then we'll
But
wait and see.
also, I mean, this is a whole new scene for us, really.
It
I
is,
mean,
yeah.
out of the, because I do a lot of the marketing as well. Out of the usual reviewers, maybe a third of the usual prog people have welcomed this album because it's not prog.
Good.
I mean, so some people are, especially with radio stations, some of them are very broad-minded and play a lot of different stuff anyway. Um, but we've had less reviews than usual
Mm.
because it's the prog scene that knows us, and they're all going, well, this isn't prog. And the blues magazines don't know us. I mean, Blues Matter said they're going to do a review, but they're probably going, who the hell is this? I don't know if we can be bothered. And again, it's a very old scene, just like the prog scene. It's people who are 45 plus, really.
Have
So I
any of
don't know.
those have any of those artists reached out to you and said, "Hey, Doris, we want."
Artists don't generally. I mean, I organize quite a lot of acoustic shows, and I always try and give people who I think are really good a chance. But it's funny, some people don't like competition, or they don't, I don't know. Some people I think feel threatened if they think it's too good. There's all sorts of odd stuff that goes on in the live scene, and of course, it's very hard to get good tours. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if the blues scene are going to embrace us or not. I have no idea. But the our singles so far have been picked up by over 50 radio stations,
Oh, excellent.
and 40 of those are blues programs that have never played us before. They're totally new. They are really embracing us. We're so grateful for that,
Yeah.
because these are new people and we're new to them. And with Red Letter Blues, which obviously was the first single, they really, really embraced that and have played it. And so from that point of view, we're getting a lot of attention.
Yeah.
Whether that is going to develop into decent gigs or festivals, blues festivals or other things, is really, really hard to tell. So I think that's where Lee said we're waiting to see if anything actually happens from this. Who knows? Let's see. Let's wait and see. Yeah.
All right. Anything else you guys wanted to talk about? We covered a lot of ground here. Thank you really for everything you
I
talked
think
about.
I think
You
we've
welcome
covered
us to
much. Yeah.
talk about all these different topics, but I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said I think we've covered most things. I mean, with the blues album, we've talked a lot. I mean, there's always more to say, but I think I thank you very much, Mark, for being interested. I know you usually do prog things, and this is different, and we really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks for your time.
well, no, thank you. Yeah, I'm of the, I listen to all the old school, but I'm sort of the new school where, like you said, prog changes. And also the other side is the female fronted metal, and I love metal. Not heavy, not hardcore, not anything like that, but
Yeah.
prog, and I hate to say it, but it's proggy kind of metal. So yeah, you got to keep your mind open to a lot of things, and I think the radio station I grew up with, WMMS, if you've never heard of it, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, and they actually helped get the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame there because they brought so many bands in. They really knew how to coalesce all the fans, the fan bases, and grew up with that. You'd have reggae on one minute, you'd have rock on, you'd have metal, you'd have jazz, you'd have, I mean, even through, Leonard Skinner, that country rock, you'd have a little bit of everything. So thank
Yeah.
goodness I was exposed to a lot of different music, and
Mm.
I believe in that if you
Yeah.
want, and it's not a genre, but if you want to
Totally.
call it a genre, it's the open-minded genre.
But that's it. I
Yeah,
don't understand people who only listen to one type of music because I think, well, there's good stuff in every genre. Why
yeah,
why would you? It's like saying I only watch horror movies,
yeah,
or I only watch the news. You want to watch a bit of everything, don't you?
absolutely.
Surely. Listen, I'm going to have to go soon because my cat is getting really, really impatient for her dinner.
Well, hey,
I've got to go and wrestle my dog to the death. So
it's
And feed your mum.
and feed my mum grapes.
well, hey, again, thank you. You guys are so much fun to be with and talk with, and we'll definitely do this again next time you come out with something. And I may be contacting you about something at the end of April, and we'll see if you guys want to be a part of it. But definitely, thanks for everything you do. Keep doing what you're doing. It's excellent. Don't be afraid to change, and I'm glad you didn't. And I wish you the best of luck. Really, you're
Brilliant.
both
Thank you
fantastic.
so much, Mark. And we shall speak soon.
Thank you, Mark.
All right,
Always a pleasure.
give me just a minute. I'm going to turn off the recording here. In one, two, three.